And we're back. And welcome back, y'all. Another episode of Black Friday. Today got another small one, but just as hot. My name's Christian, and we got Chris. And Happy New Year. Officially, we haven't been back that much. I mean, we've got one in so far this year, but we're still back. And it's a new year, and it's also Black History Month, man. Happy Black History.
Had to make a comeback for Black History Month, get back up on here.
I had to show out one time for the one time. People don't even know. So, like, when you think of Black History Month, who do you think of when it comes to mind? Like, who's that person?
I mean, it's always like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was always big in Detroit. So those are the two that always come to mind. It's just because I remember watching that same movie. I don't know if you watched it too. I watched this animated movie about Martin Luther King as a kid, and he was playing baseball with a white kid. And like, this was the only part of the movie I remember. It was like an animated movie about his life. They're playing baseball, Martin Luther King and this white kid. White dad comes out and says, "You can't play baseball with that, N-word." And I just remember being a kid. I'm like, probably, I don't know, 6, 7. I'm like, dang, man, that's kind of messed up. Like, I don't know why they do that. And I watched that movie for like 8 years straight, every single Black Friday. I said Black Friday, every single Black History Month. I remember they would show us that movie, and I'm like, hey, it was a good movie though. Somebody look that up. Let me know what movie that is.
Black History Month. All right, that's all you remembered was. Oh man.
They were repetitive with the curriculum on Black History Month, but I mean, I'd say Martin Luther King's definitely the one that I think about first, and then maybe Rosa Parks, Thurgood Marshall, people like that, Jesse Owens, people who pioneered Black excellence in this country.
Oh, those are some big names for sure, man. Jesse Owens is legit. One of the guys that kind of established us like at the top, especially with the Olympics. I just remember doing projects like in Burn Black History Month about certain people. So I would like pick different stuff that people weren't aware about. So I did things like George Washington Carver, people that like nobody really knew or thought about. Man, that guy was wild, man. He created a lot of stuff just all with the products of peanuts, like toothpaste, soap, like all types of chemicals, like all that. And the man was brilliant. But we used to do stuff like that all the time. So I just remember picking just different people weren't aware about. And I was like, man, George Washington went pretty hard. That guy was legit. So like looking at that, I'm like, that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it was definitely educational. It was a good time. Good time to be a kid. You learn a lot.
Do you ever feel like you were brainwashed with it?
Honestly, I mean, not really. My school was, I don't know about your school. My school was majority Black students. So I don't really think so. I think a lot of students were very interested in it and wanted to learn about it. And I don't, and none of my teachers, I really think, had ulterior motives. Not at least when I was in like elementary or middle school or anything like that. When I was in high school, then yeah, that's when politics started coming into it. I don't know whether or not it was just because I'm then in high school or because the times. Because I mean, I was in high school in 2014, 15, 16, 17, all that. Then I remember the everything becoming politicized, and white people and all of this. We never talked about like white people today being evil when I was a kid. For Black History Month. That's not what we talked about. But then in high school, that's when they started bringing that on. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't know. I don't know about all that. Like,
Yeah, it seems like in the last few years, it's really taken a big turn from more just like appreciation of history and culture and achievements to an agenda to foster animosity towards other groups of people that we want to hold blame for things that had happened, multiple decades before that has nothing to do with the people currently right now. And it seems it's been kind of weaponized and turned into a tool kind of used to indoctrinate, intimidate others, and just it's kind of crazy. But I still remember the good stuff, man. I remember the good stuff about it. That's what I like to remember the most. It's unfortunate that's kind of not what it is anymore.
yeah, now it's just like, white owned and operated companies wearing like putting up I don't know if you saw, I think it was Delta or American Airlines had the you know, they changed their profile picture to like the African colors of black, green, and
All
yellow,
the
and
good old Pan-African little.
yeah, and it's like, you gonna give us a discount on flights? Like, come on, like what I like it's the same thing as like the gay pride month where they try and just change their colors and be like, hey, we stand with you, but you really don't. I just think it's all pandering and I'm not a fan of it. I do miss when Black History Month was something that like could just be enjoyed and you learn about history. I'm not a fan now that I'm an adult and I can think about it. I think that there shouldn't be a Black History Month. I think it should just be American history. I think that in curriculums, yeah, focus on slavery and focus on those times and things like that. But I think I think focusing so much on race, especially nowadays, it's kind of tearing a lot of people apart, and it's not a good thing for the country. So many people are just so focused on race.
Yeah, it really seems to be hyper focused more than it ever has been before. I've been on campus, I've talked to students, people have told me we're more divided now than we were before the civil rights movement. And I said, well, how did that happen? If that's the case, if that's true, how did we get there? How did that come to be? Because before, I mean, I remember even like before, like, up to 2015, whatever, like we understood that there were black people, there were white people, and Black History Month was a thing. And it really didn't seem like it was really polarized, and it didn't really have that sort of connotation, that sort of meaning. And then all of a sudden, just a Marxist explosion happens, and and especially around the 2016 election, now everything's just up in flames. And here we are, because of
Uh,
that. Really,
I think it's all a slippery slope from people. I don't know what I want to call them, progressives, Marxists, whatever you want to call them. They tie every social issue because a race is such a emotionally charged issue, especially for Black people. You just calling somebody racist, it makes uh, people who have genuinely experienced racism, and a lot of times most Black people in this country have, it makes us look at those people like, okay, you obviously don't like me, you wouldn't like me, I don't trust you. So I think so many people on the left, whether they're progressives or Marxists or whatever you want to call them, they try to tie in as much social progressivism into racial justice, into the Black struggle as possible, so then black people, Black Americans can start being uh tied into that and emotionally charged with that as well, especially white people. White people are so like the worst thing that white progressives, let me say that, are so um afraid to be called racist that they'll go along with anything if they're not going to be called racist. They'll march in the streets. They'll, get. I mean, there's videos of them getting on their hands and knees with in chains and saying, "Please forgive me." I mean, all of this crazy stuff. I think all of this, the agenda that they have with racism, the agenda they have with race, and making everything that's progressive surround that with the Black struggle. That is what's bringing race so in like into such a divided space now. I think we made a ton of progress as a country in the last, 40 years minus the last, 5 to 10. We made so much progress and then it started falling apart after every marginalized group started saying that we're exactly like African Americans in this country. We're exactly like Black people in this country. When in honestly, they're not. It's very different. Whatever other marginalized group it is very different. It's a very different experience to be a Black person in the United States than to be a different kind of marginalized group.
I would say the problem that we saw with that, like you're kind of hitting the nail on the head here, is people want to trivialize and like, lump in other hardships and tragedies and other things that other groups have gone through, and kind of lump it in with the black struggle, or lump it in with a different struggle. We see this with the BLM wanting to link all of a sudden trans stuff with the Black Lives Matter movement, and they went out and hijack and put it together. And those things are not similar whatsoever. They have nothing to do with each other, yet they want to make it that way because they want to share the struggle and kind of just amp everybody up and get more people onto their side. It's just kind of a tool, and it's not genuine, it's not authentic, and there's bad motives behind it. A lot of people fail to see it. The same thing we've seen with women's rights and the feminist movements, and want to tie that in with black women and tie it in with, whatever else Marxist origins. I mean, that's kind of what feminism was founded through, was Marxist origins already. So you morph those together in those struggles, and then you have a bunch of angry women and this and that, and then you throw black people in with it, and you get an angry mob. And when you get the angry mob, bad things happen.
Mhm.
And then all it takes is one little thing to, one thing to set it all off. A cop kills somebody or something else, and then you have a whole city burning down. And then it's all in the air, and then it's you're either with us, you're against us. And if you're against us, we're going to go beat you up in the middle of the street, or we're going to do something really bad. We're going to smear your whole family, call you whatever, get you fired from your job, and end your livelihood and your career. Even if we don't know what the heck's going on, we just think you're against us, so we're just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the whole thing. Is comparing the struggles is wrong, but they'll do it with just about anything except, and this is why I might get in trouble. The Holocaust. Okay, now when you compare anything to the Holocaust, you're automatically bad. And I would agree.
Mhm.
We shouldn't compare. Trivialize. Bad tragedies with each other. Each tragedy has its own, you know, its own specific, occurrences, events that happen that or the reason why it happened. We should remember them. So that's why I don't think we should lump in different tragedies with each other. Atlantic slave trade with black people, the Holocaust with the Jewish people, whatever the genocide of Native Americans, whatever you want to. But like those things aren't the same. And I would tell people it's a disservice to go ahead and lump it all together and just pull it together so you can pull up a bunch of marginalized groups or so-called marginalized groups that you want to create and then get them angry at whoever you want them to get angry at. I don't know, the white man or whoever else you think is at fault here.
Mhm.
And that's where I think it's really gone on for. And unfortunately, I believe the black community's fallen just right for it in a lot of
Yeah.
senses. We just fall right for it. Just like, yeah, they're with us. They're with us. Like, well, no, it has nothing to do with you, but they want you to be a part of it because they think they can use you. It's that easy. You're kind of the lowest hanging fruit here. They're not worried. They can go ahead and use you. So transitioning from that, let's get into Spotify and Joe Rogan here because I think this kind of goes right along with it. Uh, One a comedian that I like, his name's David Lucas, and he tweeted out. He says the media does not have much respect for black people. They edited a video, released it, thinking we wouldn't go back and look at the context. They believe we're all emotional, irrational, reactionary, and I think he's spot on with that right there. Because I genuinely believe the media just uses black people for clicks, likes, and votes every single second of the day, with no regard for what the repercussions of this afterwards are. Mental health, the community, what's the community's going to look like physically after something bad
Mhm.
happens. The media trumps up and it might burn down. And they just go ahead and they say, oh, these people are going to get mad. They're going to get pissed off because of this. Let's go ahead and do it anyways. Like, this is going to make great content. We're going to get a lot of views, a lot of clicks and likes, and maybe they'll buy it. And if they buy it, we're in. We're in big time. You know?
Exactly. Nothing sells in this country like a story about racism, a story about race, a story about black struggle, anything like that. Those sell huge. They're looking through every single white celebrity's history right now and finding finding past videos that they've done and seeing have they ever said the N-word? Have they ever done anything like that? Then they're going to, play that and say like this is look they're racist, they've always been racist, and sell a million magazines or clicks or anything like that about that. And that's exactly what they did to Joe Rogan. Now what they did, why they did it to Joe Rogan is obvious. It's because
It's
he's not going with their
no,
narrative.
no. And that's the whole thing about it was that they had to go to try to pull the race card on all this because they couldn't get him on anything else. Medical misinformation. No, we actually want to hear what he has to say and the people that he brings on.
Hmm.
Now you go call the guy racist. It's not because he's racist, it's because he's saying things against big pharma and against the elites, and he's getting more views and more hits than corporate media is. He's outpacing everybody, including Tucker, including Rachel Maddow, including CNN, including everybody on that list. He's absolutely crushing them. He's got an extended audience. They can't
Hmm.
control it. So now they're going to try to ruin and defame his character and take everybody down along the way, and they don't care about it because they have to
Exactly.
protect their own.
I don't. I listen to Joe Rogan like a lot, and I'm not. I like him. I think that his show is just strangely entertaining compared to most. I can listen to a Joe Rogan podcast with somebody I have never heard of on a topic that I really don't care about, and he just makes it entertaining. And it's just an entertaining podcast, and you learn a lot. And I think it's great. So I've listened to probably the last 100 to 150 episodes that he's done, just the last year or so. I don't know how many episodes, but I've been listening to him for about a year regularly, maybe 2 or 3 years, just on and off. But it's so obvious that he has no agenda. They're just like, whether it's Tucker Carlson or it's Rachel Maddow, they have agendas. They have things that they're pushing. Fox News, CNN, they both have agendas. They both things that they're pushing. Joe Rogan has no agenda. He's there to just have a conversation and make it entertaining and have a good time. Whether he's talking to Snoop Dogg or he's talking to a COVID doctor or he's talking to a comedian or he's talking to an ex-felon or a murderer, like he's just talking to people and like, what's your life story? Let's make it interesting. And he does it for 3 hours. No cuts. Well, sometimes there's cuts, very minimal cuts. You know, people go to the bathroom, but mainly unedited, unscripted. Just have a good conversation, and I think that's what people want to
Yeah.
see: actual dialogue between people that may not agree with each other. And Joe, I mean, he had the CNN doctor on there. They did not agree, but they had a great conversation. And Joe, to this day, still says that Sanjay Gupta is a great guy and he very much enjoyed having him on and he has no problem with him. Even though I think Sanjay Gupta is a spineless coward and he was
Can't
cool to
answer
Joe.
questions.
Exactly. He
Can't.
was cool to Joe to his face. And then Don Lemon started talking to him and he was like, yeah, Joe, I thought Joe was going to beat me up. Like I was so scared. But Joe Rogan still says that he was a great guy. So, you know, I'll take Joe's
Weak
word for it, I
chin,
guess.
no spine. All those guys are terrible. And this all happened. Okay. No, everybody was fine with Joe. Everybody loved Joe Rogan Experience until he started asking the wrong questions.
Mm-hmm.
He started asking the wrong questions. and then the threat was there. And then everybody said, okay, all right, corporate media, CNN. Oh man, this is CNN went out to smear him to make it look like he was sick and gonna die. They literally like
Mm-hmm.
tainted his skin, made him look like gray and feeble, like he was dying out there, which was not even true. Close to. They have no credibility whatsoever. We saw right through that.
They said
You
that
know?
he was taking horse dewormer when ivermectin has been a medication used over 4 billion times since the 70s and 80s. It is included in almost all like medical kits against COVID in, I think, South America. I believe it's South America or Africa. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, ivermectin is very, like, it's known that it is not horse dewormer. It is, and he wasn't taking horse. Well, it is a horse dewormer, but he wasn't taking, you know, a prescription for a horse. He was taking a prescription he got from his doctor. Like Joe Rogan is worth, I mean, he got the $100 million Spotify deal. He's probably worth 100 million, maybe a little bit more. You don't think that he can afford a doctor? He has to go steal horse medication. Like, it's all the fake news. MSNBC, I think, or NBC, I don't remember, had a story as well sometime where they were saying that there were so many people getting or not being able to go into hospital rooms because from gunshot wounds because people were overdosing on ivermectin. That's how many people were overdosing on ivermectin during that whole thing. When in the story they were using pictures of people in winter coats, and it's July, and how many people are getting shot? And I think it was Oklahoma City or Nebraska or something like that. How many people are getting shot that they, you know, are like that? It's obviously false. They're just making things up, and people ended up reaching out to the hospital like, hey, how many people are like overdosing on ivermectin? What are you talking about? People aren't overdosing on ivermectin. Like, that's not happening. No one's taking horse dewormer. They're just trying to make it so you follow along, become an NPC, don't ask questions, do what the government and the
Yeah.
media tell you to do.
No alternative medicine. Just get the jab and call it good. The thing is, if you're sick with COVID, you can't go and get them. You can't go get the vaccine when you're sick. No, you're already like you're jacked up. You can't go get a vaccine when you're sick. So like, just go get vaccine. I'm like, no, like you obviously need some other treatment while you're sick. Okay, that's just
Mm-hmm.
what 411 here. It's just common sense here. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a moron. Like there's obviously got to be something else. No. Like they're pushing so hard against it to the point where they just want people to die to prove a political point. And that's where we're at with it. And nobody wants to say it, but that's literally what they'd rather have you die than be right and use some alternative medicine and possibly tell other people that there's another way around it. But
or they'd rather have you die from the vaccine and have everyone be vaccinated. I'm not saying the vaccine kills people. I am not a doctor. I'm not qualified to say that. But is it likely to say that a medication works for 100% of the population on Earth? Probably not. There are going to be people who have negative effects, no matter what it is. Aspirin, whatever it is, people are going to have negative effects. Not saying that the vaccine's killing people. Don't come after me, big government and big pharma. I'm just saying that the vaccine is probably not going to be effective for 100% of the population. And it's already been admitted it is not keeping people from contracting COVID after, I believe it's 6 months of vaccination. I have many people I know who are vaccinated. My personal family who were vaccinated, triple vaxxed, and caught COVID right after or shortly after. I mean, it doesn't matter now if you're vaccinated. You can still catch COVID. You can still spread COVID. So what is there left to get vaccinated for?
Well, I mean, that's I'm not going to be the guy to say don't go ahead and do it. Make your own informed medical decision. If you
Exactly.
need to have
We're
it,
not here
you
telling
go,
people what to do.
no, you go ahead and make the decision. But I do think people need to look. There are pros and cons to this, depending on who you are, what you have going on in your life, your family's medical history, what's going on. You're going to have to go ahead and make that decision. And we're seeing a point in time here where asking questions gets you in big, big trouble. Again, asking the wrong questions gets you in big, big trouble. Hey, watch it. Is there anything else I can do? What do you mean? What do you mean? Is there anything? Oh, I'd rather just, get some sort of maybe some homeopathic treatment, or take something else, some, monoclonal antibodies, maybe get my body right, Regeneron, maybe, just to get right. Oh, well, why don't you just go get vaccinated? Well, maybe I don't want to. Like that's they push it so hard, and that's why people have so much distrust here. The pharmaceutical industry, medical malpractice kills 250,000 people a year. We're already at that
Mhm.
number. I mean, that's more than cops shooting black people. That's more than we're looking at, more than people drowning. That's more than oh gosh, I'm starting to think of other things that would kill more people. I mean, it's just like this is that's it's high on the list. It's in the
Yeah.
I believe it's in the top five.
I think it's yeah, something along there,
Yeah,
top
like
5, top
the
10.
top five, top 10 deaths in America here. The medical malpractice. He's killing people with bad information from doctors, bad advice, and bad prescriptions, or who knows what.
Mhm.
And the largest civil lawsuit in history is against Pfizer. It's a fact. You can look it up. You can check it all you want. It's a fact. These guys are supposed to be the answer to everything, highly reputable, yet they have the biggest lawsuit in history on their hands. They've done some bad things, very bad things. Are they great people? You make the decision for yourself. I'm not here to slander and smear all the time, but uh, in this past recent 2 days, it's been reported that Joe Rogan took down over 100 episodes from the Joe Rogan Experience. I really
I
wish he
believe
had done
it
it.
was a mix though. Spotify took down some.
Spotify
He
took
took
down
he
about 70, I believe, and then at
Yeah,
this point, there's over 113 down.
and then he took down some that I believe he didn't want them up anymore, ones that he felt didn't portray his point of view currently, and I think he talked about that in I
Yeah,
think it was the IG video that he uploaded, a couple days
yeah,
ago.
yeah. And there was a clip that was selectively edited and released that was used to try to rile up black people. Thankfully, there's a lot of black comics out there that know Joe very well personally, and they're going to stand up and stick up for the guy. But there's selectively edited clips. There's a full clip where he's talking. I don't even know the guy he's talking about, and the guy is talking about how black people are easily more agitated, a little more violent, this and that, and they like cut it, and Joe's just like, huh, and they like cut the clip. Like then Joe afterwards, he's like, oh, I don't think that's right. Like, can you like, well, I mean, we have like wars and we have all these things like caused by not necessarily black people, by white people here and there. Like, how's that factored into aggression and all these things? And like, and acting like, oh, Joe just thinks, well, we're all violent, a bunch of like, like that's just irrational. That's just
Mhm.
ridiculous. And they clipped and edited that thing on purpose, sent it out to people, trying to get that reaction, trying to set black people off. It's just ridiculous, man. And I'd say, thankfully, a lot of people aren't buying it. Don't listen to Twitter and act like the Twitter world is reality, because it's not. Majority of Twitter doesn't even vote, so they don't even matter their political opinions. They don't even
Thank
vote.
God.
Like it's a really good thing that they don't. We're in a bad place if they do. So I think a lot of people aren't fooled by it, but the thing at the subject, but I mean the fact still stands that Joe Rogan did apologize and came to the mob a bit here, which
And
is
I think, but I did listen to his video, and I'm biased. I like Joe Rogan.
I like him too.
I like his show. I listen to his show a lot. I think that his apology wasn't. I think if I would have did it, I would have stood the ground a little bit harder. But I think it wasn't so much like, "Please forgive me," like some people are making it sound. He was more saying like, "Guys, I said the N word in the context of I'm quoting someone else." Even then, I probably shouldn't do it, and now I wouldn't do it again. So I apologize for that, for what I did in the past. Now, I get his point. I get him making the apology. I really think people don't care. At least I don't think a lot of like black people in the black community care that much. I think woke black people who like are living in like the suburbs and all of that, and they're like, Yeah, I'm on Twitter and I got my blue check mark and I work at the Washington Post. Like I'm really triggered about what Joe Rogan said. Like I'm their token black employee. Like they're the ones who care. I don't think that people care about Joe Rogan 10 years ago saying the N-word in the context of saying, oh, somebody said, the N-word. And he was just quoting them. So I don't think a lot of people in the black community truly care. And like you said, Christian, so many black comedians came out and defended him, saying like, yeah, yo, he's not racist. Like I've seen racism, I know racism. I know David
Yeah.
Goggins defended him. Other comedians,
Oh,
other
Rogan's
black
an idiot.
influences, yeah, other people that know Joe Rogan personally and well came out and said Joe Rogan is the opposite of racism. And I think it's so obvious to see Joe Rogan isn't even conservative. They keep trying to paint him as a conservative. He's anything like really, but the only thing he's like pro is like police. Like he's pro police and like pro law and order, kind of. Like he's everything else he's pretty progressive on, but they just can't get over that he won't say get vaccinated, everyone should get vaccinated. Like that's what they're really upset
Yeah.
about. So they're gonna come out. They're probably gonna come out next. My guess is they're gonna bring up a joke of his where he probably made fun of like gay people or trans people or something, and they're gonna lose their minds.
Well,
Or maybe
speaking of
another
that, The
race.
Rock's already done it. The Rock is, they because he's the guy that's like, oh, I didn't know Joe Rogan said all these things today. They took him 5 seconds to dig up what The Rock's done in the past, and that guy's gonna go get put under the microscope. Good for him though, getting stuffed. I'm
Yeah.
tired of him. I'm really tired of the guy. Makes me sick.
And which sucks because I like The Rock. I mean, and I wish that he wasn't like trying to be like woke. And so I saw the tweet where he's like, "Oh, so sorry, I didn't know that this had." Like, why are you apologizing all the time to like people who genuinely don't care about you or your experience or whether or not people are racist to you? Most white liberals on Twitter who are so outrageous about this do not care about the black struggle in America. Do not care about black people. They are the same ones who will cross the street if they see a black person on the street with them. They are the same ones who lock their doors when black people walk by at night.
Yeah.
That is exactly who you're dealing with when you see somebody blue check mark rainbow in their Twitter name, like all of that. That's those people. And I'm generalizing, of course, but I just from my experience as being a black man in America, a biracial man in America, I get included in circles and people think that I'm going to be on their side politically, and they start talking. A lot of times, white liberals will start talking and saying like things like, "Well, black people need to believe this, that, or the other," or "Black people should." Why are you telling me what I should believe? I'm not here telling you what you should believe as because of your race. Believe what you want to believe. Like that's not my part to tell you what to believe and what your experience is. But so many progressive white liberals want to do that and want to, in essence, control the black community. And that's what they're doing right now. The black community is the emotional strong arm
Oh,
and
yeah.
cultural strong arm of the left.
They scare the heck out of the community too. That's the one thing I hate is we get scared too easy. They scare people into believing if you're not wearing 5 masks and jabbed up that you're gonna die all of a sudden. They're gonna kill us. They're gonna kill us. I'm like, man, they're gonna kill you with what they're giving you, not with what's out
Yeah.
there, man. Like you're crazy. But that's what they've pushed. That's what they've peddled for so long. And this is the crazy thing too, is that uh, Joe Rogan and the things that he's asking, things that he's questioning is more liberal than the actual liberals themselves. The liberals have turned into full status. At this point, they're pro-war. They want to go to war with Russia all of a sudden. They're pro-cops because they want the cops to come in if you didn't get your vaccine, and they want to bust you out and put you in a camp. Over 49% of Dems at a poll said that they wanted that to happen. They want to put people that aren't vaccinated into camps. What else are they pro? Oh yeah, they're pro. They're just pro big pharma. They don't care anymore. They're straight up all in bed with big pharma. They love big pharma now. They're all up on that. They love it totally in all of its essence. So they're pro police state. They're pro big pharma. They're pro everything they used to hate. Okay. All those things they used to hate, pro big corporations shutting everything down because they don't like free speech anymore. They want them to shut down Joe Rogan. So all these things is so antithetical to what they're supposed to be believing. These
It's
people are literally the worst. They're the
because
worst
so
people I've
many
ever seen.
people in this country are willing to go against their actual beliefs because the side that they don't like might agree with them. People would say, I don't really want the life-saving medication for this deadly worldwide pandemic to be in the hands of a corporation like Pfizer and their track record. And I also don't think that they should be making trillions of or billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't even know if it went up to trillions. I don't know. I don't want them to make that much money off of the vaccine, et cetera, on our tax dollars. And people from the left 10 years ago, you give them that scenario, they would have said, yeah, I agree with you. That's crazy. Big Pharma, I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to support that. Now they are bending over backwards, calling the police on their neighbors, arresting black children in museums, arresting kids in restaurants. This is what's happening now. And, you know, if I can throw in my little my little 2 cents about police, exactly my libertarian rant. If you haven't seen this coming, if you haven't seen that the police will screw you over every step of the way, this is what happens. So every time I see people talk about, you know, Blue Lives Matter and all cops are heroes, I'm not saying all cops are bad. I don't really believe that. And I don't believe that police inherently are bad people. I think most cops are good people. But I think the institution of policing is just inherently going to be an infringement upon your rights. They are told to come in and they are told to tell you what you have to do, whether it's masks or lockdowns or you have to give up your guns. They're most likely going to do that. They have, you know, kids to feed. They need the job, that kind of thing. Well, if my job told me to do that, probably wouldn't remain at my job. I'm just saying that my libertarian rant for the day, police are not going to be your best friends. And a lot of people on the right need to get that through their heads and realize that if you like limited government, you probably shouldn't love the police as well. The police state, not saying police as in individual police officers. Just want to make that clear. My libertarian rant ends.
For the day. Just as you were talking about this, I'm gonna add the plug here. Boom. We have a debate coming to Black Friday soon. We've got our very own Austin Erickson. If you guys remember him from previous shows on the podcast, we had a nice little debate last time. We're going to have him debate Aaron Cook on the state of police in America and whether conservatives, this is from a conservative standpoint, it's really interesting, conservative standpoint, whether they should be pro-police or more distance, more anti-police, and why, you know, why should we feel this way or why should we take this stance? And I'm going to moderate it. I'm excited. I think this is going to be really cool because I'm somewhere in the middle on this. There's some things I like. There's a lot of things I don't like. There's a lot of things I do like. There's a lot of, it's like, you know, I'm in the middle. I'm like, police in the black neighborhood. Absolutely. We need more of that because it's really absolutely terrible. It just, if we let it go, it's just going to be Chicago shooting everything up in all essence. On the other hand, cops shut down churches and threw people in jail that went to church during the shutdown. I really wasn't a fan of that. They are going to be the first people that are going to throw you in jail for violating COVID mandates, and you know, it's happened. So that's the other thing I don't like. So there's this whole: are they just following orders? Well, is that cutting it? Is that the answer? Is that the truth? Should we just accept that, or should we demand better? And so we're gonna get to the bottom of it. We're going to get to the bottom of that, and that's coming really, really soon. Once we have a date solidified for that, we will be letting y'all know, and
it's going to be great.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So, I mean, finishing up Joe Rogan here, another thing, too, is the way that we can be 100% sure this isn't about race. If people just follow the receipts of what's going on, literally the Biden administration at White House has been calling for a crackdown on Joe Rogan for the past few weeks. You know, they've been calling for a crackdown on this guy for the last few weeks about spreading medical misinformation. It has nothing to do about race. This is just a way to get him. It's just their easiest way to get him and try to take stuff down. Okay. In my opinion here, Joe shouldn't have apologized for anything. He should have told everybody to get stuff, get bent, maybe even flip the bird. This is years and years in the past. It's been there. If you weren't mad then, you shouldn't be mad now. You have plenty of time and resources to find anything that you'd ever want to find. This goes for all the cancel culture idiots out there. You know, you can't, if you're not going to deal with it now, don't think you can pull it up 5-10 years later and use it like in a courtroom and full of evidence to go and end somebody's life and end their careers. I probably have skeletons in the closet somewhere you can probably find, but damn it, I'm going to fight all of it if it ever comes out. I don't care anymore, man.
All right, let's all start looking.
I'm not going to apologize for it either, for this crap like that. I'm not going to apologize for that. I won't do it. Like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know, it's beyond past time. This guy obviously has made it very clear with everybody that he's had on his show. Oh, he really doesn't like black people. Oh, is that true? Is that just because like every other person that he has on his show is probably black? I mean, literally, like, the guy goes with everybody that he hosts everybody from all over the place.
Yeah.
So there's no basis for this. It's just a big time emotional pull, and if you fall for it, here's a lollipop. You're a sucker. Like there you go. Don't fall for it, folks. Don't fall for it. Never fall for it. Uh, Bam. So now on to the Canadian truckers. If you guys haven't been aware in the media for the past week or so, this has been one of the hottest topics, especially in conservative media circles, is truckers in Canada have pulled up, have stopped, they're not working, effectively on strike until, and as one man has put it, the honking will continue until freedom improves. And they are there to stay, and they're not going anywhere. And it's getting a little bit dicey out there in Ottawa. It's quite the situation, but it seems like people are going to realize who really runs the country and who really, decides when things are going to happen, when they're not going to happen. Truckers supply food on your shelves, resources, oil, gas, everything you need to survive in your everyday life. If they're not working and things aren't going on, it's only a matter of time before things get really, really bad. And people are going to learn to appreciate it. The elites up at the top in DC, out there in Canada, the people like Justin Trudeau and all those people that really have disdain for blue collar working Americans, they're soon going to find out what really happens when these people just give up on you and say they're done, and when they really stop coming to work. So I think it's just something that's been waiting to happen for a long, long time. Regardless of COVID, like it's about time that these people gave the big finger to them. I really think it's been a long time.
It's like the French Revolution, bring the guillotine to the palace. I'm not saying to chop Justin Trudeau's head off, but I am saying that the fact that so many, I don't know the number. Christian, you know how many truckers there are or how many people are there? I've never saw a number.
Let me run a number here.
Okay, well, let's just say that if I'm going to guess, I'm going to say like 100,000. I don't know. I feel like that's about accurate. Maybe we'll see what's going on, but 100,000 truckers and farmers and cowboys and blue collar and white collar, I'm sure, and fast food workers and restaurant workers and so many other types of people are coming together in Canada right now to stand for liberty, to stand for choice, to stand for the ability to make your own decisions and not let the government make them for you. And every step of the way, people are coming to them and they are fighting them, whether it's the police, whether it's organizations and corporations like GoFundMe or the media that are pushing back and saying how they're all racist and violent when what are they doing? They're blowing up bounce houses for kids to jump on, and they're 95-year-old women baking 200 cupcakes for the truckers, or I think it was muffins actually. Let me not get my fake news out here, but that's essentially what's going on. It's just a protest. I mean, I am absolutely livid over what happened with GoFundMe. I'll touch on that for just a second. I mean, the fact that GoFundMe, if you have not heard, has taken I think it was 9.9 million, maybe over 10 million, just around that ballpark, all that money that was raised for these truckers in this protest, they took it and they are going to redistribute that wealth to charities that they seem fit, because the truckers went against their section. It was like in their protocol and terms of agreement, some paragraph 8, clause 8, something like that. Yeah, no violence or harassment. And this constitutes that, apparently, because there are violent truckers, yet there is no evidence of that, or no evidence that I have seen, and I would love to be shown that. And so they are going to redistribute that $10 million that was supposed to go to these people. So if you are listening to this, if you are a conservative, or if you even have a brain, never use GoFundMe again. I've donated on GoFundMe, I think once or twice. I will never use GoFundMe. I will never support that corporation or that company. And I hope everyone else does the same. Let's no longer support corporations that cut us off at the head when we get powerful. They are just tools of the elite, tools of the inner circle, and they are doing exactly what they're told.
No, this is clearly not the free market at work here. When the government called on GoFundMe to seize and freeze those assets, and they did, just listen to the government for no reason. And it's literally, it's like the government says, "Hey, why don't you?" And they were like, "Yeah," and then they literally don't give people their own money. And actually, Chris, from what I've read recently here in the last day or two, GoFundMe said they will be issuing refunds to everybody, so everybody should be getting their money back.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Money. So that's.
I think that's just from the backlash that they got from people.
Absolutely. Like, it's common sense to just give the money.
Yeah.
How are they just going to take people's money and give it to something like that's absolutely ludicrous?
Exactly. So
My
they
money
were
gets sold, I
testing
want
the
my money back.
waters. They were testing
Yeah.
the waters. They're like, this we're gonna go give this money to, whatever left-leaning organization that we want. And then everyone was like, I will never use your service again, and I'm going to sue. And then they're like, okay, we'll just give refunds then. Let's just give refunds, guys.
It's
And
asinine.
then what's that other platform? Let's give them a shout out. What is it?
Give,
Send.
send, go. Give,
Yeah.
send, go. Great people there. They really stick up for it. That money will get delivered, guaranteed. Uh, thanks, mom. Miss you too. Uh, and it's they give out the money. They don't, what it's intended for. You raise the money for a cause. That money goes to the cause, and that's how it
Mhm.
ends. Another great solution here from a guy that I've been following for years. They call him the Bitcoin Bandit himself, Dylan Palacio Green Toe. Shout out. If you donate Bitcoin, nobody can touch it. If you donate crypto, nobody can mess with it. No GoFundMe can't touch it. The government can't touch it. Nobody can mess with it. That stuff's encrypted. It's secure. So if you really want to make sure that your stuff is getting there, you could actually send crypto straight to these guys. So, he's coordinating a way in an effort to send that money out there. So that's another option there. To circumvent everything out there with credit card processors and all the weirdos, the government elites that don't want this to happen. Go ahead and think about it that way. Maybe that'll be an option for you there if you guys want to give out money that way.
Yeah, I'm looking at actually one right now. It's Give Send Go. Uh, I don't know what you call it, campaign, I guess, for Freedom Convoy to DC. So essentially, what I'm looking at is it's a continuation of this, taking the truckers from Canada to DC. Additionally, and keeping the protest going. It is so far it's raised 48,298 Canadian dollars. Their goal is 250,000 Canadian dollars. So I don't know what I think it's relatively the same amount. So it's about 50,000 US dollars. I'm assuming. I don't know. Our economy's kind of tanked lately.
I feel like Canadian money might be worth a little bit more than ours. I feel like.
Let's see. 48,000 CAD to US. Oh, yeah. So it's actually 37,851 US dollars. So almost $40,000 has been raised on Give Send Go to continue the Freedom Convoy to DC. I would actually like to see what happens there. I'm not saying, I am actually saying I would like to see,
I'll say it.
blue collar.
I want to see it.
I would
I'll
like to.
see it.
I'm
I'll
just
say
trying
it.
to. I'd rather not have the FBI come knock on my door.
Yeah.
I want the blue collar workers to come and rise up in this country and get together. I actually saw that's funny. That reminds me of this meme I saw. It was a leftist like proletariat of the world, stand together, unionize, stand up to the oppressive governments, and then they're like, no, you're not supposed to do that. Go get your Pfizer approved shot. Like it's literally how it is. They're going against everything they believe because they just happen to be conservative. Like it's really crazy. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can abandon all of your beliefs and all of everything that you believe in because you think the other side are bad people. But you all agree pretty much on liberty. Everyone pretty much is like, I'm all for liberty. Well, not anymore, but 10 years ago probably could have convinced it. But like to see what these Canadians continue doing. Keep up the amazing work out there. I'm very close to the Canadian border, and I make fun of Canadians all the time. Probably continue to do so, but you guys have earned my respect on this one. So keep it going, and I'm very proud to call you guys our neighbors.
Yeah, this is something I want to see turn over here in the United States. We need some of that energy. We need some of that momentum. It's beyond past due. If we really want to see some change being made, if you really mess up the supply chain this bad, somebody's going to have to respond and answer for it. Okay, and that means there's some demands are probably going to have to be met here at this point in the process. So I think it's worth the battle. I think it's worth the fight. We're already seeing scarce shelves as it is. So what? Stop it then. Then shut it down. We're
Yep.
gonna have to make deal for a bit. Okay. But I think this is a fight. This is the hill. This isn't the hill to die. This is a hill to die on. Okay. Medical freedom is a hill to die on. It's going to impact your generation and future generations afterwards. And, all across the country, because
Liberty is the hill to die on. Yep.
civil liberty, man, civil liberty is very,
To
very
literally die on. Don't
it's
allow them to take away your liberty. That's what I'm saying.
to live your own life free from just living like people are like, oh, that's not forced. Yes, just literally it's being forced. A mandate is being forced. Showing papers to go into a grocery store, into a restaurant, you are being forced. Okay. That's not consensual. You didn't have a choice. It was this or you don't get to live. Okay, that's what it is. That's not freedom. That's not normal. Don't let people tell you it is. Don't let them accept it as normal. That's crap. They tell you that's normal. You ask them what flavor of boot they like. Okay, folks, that's what we ask them. Yeah, it's like that's normal and that's how we should all be getting along. No, it's not. And refuse to accept it. Okay, we shouldn't accept it. Um, on to Beijing 2022. So the Olympics are underway. If you guys were aware, I wasn't really aware, to be honest with you. There's been little to no coverage of it, which is awesome because I will not be tuning in. I will not be watching, supporting these Olympics at all whatsoever. With China's gross human rights atrocities to how they've treated and handled this pandemic to being responsible for the leak of the COVID-19 vaccine in a wet market in a Wuhan lab. I'm not going to be supporting. I'm not going to be watching it. And I think anybody that does is just, maybe they don't know, maybe they're not aware, but at some point you are sympathizing with it. I don't think you should be. And the sooner you turn it off, the better. Their ratings are already down in the toilet. And it looks really bad. I'm not going to lie. There's literally there's a whole ski slope and it's just straight concrete jungle all around, just like plants and factories and crap. Like it doesn't look good at all. It looks so terrible. And this is where people really wanted to have the Olympics. I don't even know how they got this bid and why people are letting them have it. But this is where we're at. It's 2022 and the Olympics are here. I really wish we had boycotted as a country, but because of our leadership in the White House, we knew that wasn't going to happen. What do you think, Chris?
I think that the Olympics are the fact that the Olympic Committee, we talked about this a little bit earlier, the fact that they're okay with countries like China and being involved in the Olympics, obviously doing terrible things with human rights. They're basically committing genocide over there, based on the brink of war with Taiwan, Russia on the brink of invading Ukraine. The fact that the global community is so okay with allowing these countries to be involved so heavily in the international community, it's kind of disgusting. America is not a perfect country whatsoever, but you cannot compare. I mean, they try and say, like, China tries to say our human rights violations with racism are an issue when what they're doing to the Uyghur Muslims is out there. What they did with COVID is out there and well known and documented. It's I don't have much respect for the Olympics. I've never been a fan of the Olympics. Never really looked at it as something like, oh, I'm going to watch the Olympics. There are a few sports that I was interested in that I would watch. But other than that, I'm not going to tune into the Olympics, and I will not tune into these Olympics. Every time I see something about it, I don't care. I don't care about the Chinese Olympics. The only thing I feel bad about are those athletes who have worked their tails off for probably the last 10 to 15 years. And since they were kids to get to the Olympics, and they happen to go to the Olympics in Beijing that nobody wants to watch because China is an evil country. I was going to say company, not much difference. Evil country that is doing terrible things to their people and to others. So I would say don't support the Olympics. Don't give them the satisfaction of your viewership and your support.
No, the IOC is absolutely spineless. We saw this in the last Olympics and the Olympics before, where they still allowed Russia to compete, even with the mass doping violations and them saying that they would not be allowed to compete. Yet they allowed them to compete in the Russian World Federation. They should have made the statement. They should have made it very clear. Said no athletes from that country will be allowed to compete until they get their act together. But they won't do it. The IOC won't hold anybody accountable. So what made us think they were going to hold China accountable for what? Who knows how much money China gives the IOC? That's another thing. We should follow a paper trail here because I'm sure they're giving a lot of money. Sure, there's a lot of money involved here where they refuse to say anything about it. Okay. I saw a few days ago, there was a reporter somewhere in Europe who was just reporting, and then the CCP literally grabbed him and took him away from his live stream that he was doing, reporting back to the country on media, just regular cable news, and they literally were like, like he's not there. Like, yeah, they literally just took him away, and that's in their country. I don't think we should be going to countries that support things like that anymore. You know, it's 2022. We have a concept of freedom here that not everybody else has. And I think if we want to make that point across, because we are a world superpower and people do look up to us, that if we're not going to support that and stand up for that, and we're not going to be a part of that, then maybe they might change. Maybe. But if they don't, I'd still don't want anything to be a part of it. There is a moral obligation. I believe that there is one. And there's horrific atrocities going on that we have a duty to respond. And this is a way we can do it without going to war and bombing people, too. It's a diplomatic way to protest and say, no, we won't go until you fix your issues that you have right now. And it doesn't cost us going to war, spending billions and trillions of dollars and having Americans die on foreign soil. And we could have handled it that way, but we didn't. We really should have.
That's one of the benefits of a global economy that, we're trading so much with China and other countries like this that all we have to do, if even 25% of the companies in America were like, we're no longer supporting China. We're cutting off our support in China. We're cutting off our factories in China. We're going to start building things in other countries, even if they were other third world countries like India or other countries like that. They're like, we're going to build our products there. China would be hurt. They would want to get their act together. They need that trade. They need that industry. They have over 1 billion people. They need the jobs there and they need the money coming in. They need that power, that economic power. That's where they're getting the rest of their power. And I think that's what America needs to do. We need to begin pulling out of China, realizing that we are funding our own destruction if we continue. Every time you buy Nikes, every time you buy an iPhone, every time you buy something that was made in China, you are funding the destruction of America. And that may be a little extreme to say, but the way that I see it is that we are supporting a country that is going to become the dominant world superpower and not for the better. Again, America is not a perfect country, but we are not out here preparing to a genocide upon are the people who live in our country, no matter what Don Lemon says on CNN. China is out here actually committing atrocities against people, and we are happy to continue buying the products that are made there. Corporations are happy to build their products there because they're getting cheap labor and they're making billions of dollars off of it. We need to no longer support it. We need to pull away from that. And I'm not saying bring back manufacturing to America, because I think America can do better than manufacturing, but I think we need to move it out of China. Move it to other countries. India is a more friendly country with us. Let's move our manufacturing there. Let's start supporting India. Let's start supporting other countries. Mexico, our neighbor on the border. If we helped Mexico get more economic power, maybe they would be able to stop the cartels. Maybe kill two birds with one stone. Secure our border, then have a more secure border. Have a more powerful Mexico, a more friendly Mexico. Those are things that we should be doing, but too many people are more interested in making an extra $1 billion than the well-being of the global community and the human race as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can find better places than cobalt mines in the Congo run by Chinese, by the CCP with young children to make your iPhones. I think we can find a better way. I'm a big fan of bringing manufacturing back to the United States and bringing jobs here. I think first and foremost, those people got to come first here. But I think it's absolutely essential. But we got to get it out of China. Us buying product from them and being reliant on them is absolutely not a power gain for us. Being dependent on those guys for anything is a bad deal. And yeah, mega corporations using that crap and shipping overseas all the time doesn't bring more money back into our pockets by any means. It helps them out, doesn't really help us. And the products are kind of cheaper quality too, honestly. They're not really great quality, but they can mass produce it. And that's why it's so much easier and efficient for them to do so. So I think we got to do something about that. It's time to say enough is enough.
Exactly. And I mean, recently China and Russia are starting to be buddies. I believe that Russia and China just signed a 30-year lease on a pipeline between Russia and China for natural gas. And China is saying that Russia has claims to the Ukraine, and Russia is saying China has claims to Taiwan. We need to start taking power away from these two countries, because the last thing we want is for the two other superpowers in the world to team up against us. We don't want that. We are actually a bastion of freedom, no matter what you believe. We're not a completely free country, but we are a bastion of freedom for people all around the world. And when they see our flag, they think of freedom. That is, no one looks at the CCP, no one looks at Russia and says, ah, man, that's freedom. That is where to go. If they could choose between living in the United States or China and Russia, most in the world would choose the United States because we have freedom. We have the opportunity to actually be successful. Where in China, in Russia, you most likely don't, especially if you're not ethnically Russian or Chinese. They're a little bit behind the times on that in those countries. So we need to start taking our power back. We need to start cutting them off at the legs. Stop supporting these countries. I've started to try and make an effort to, when I buy things, which is so hard because everything's made in China, to not support China. Not if I see something, I'm not going to support these corporations that are shelling out to China. Like for instance, John Cena shelled out to China. That man got a million social credit scores when he said that Taiwan is not a country. He is China's new favorite. I'm not going to support John Cena. I'm not going to support the movies he's in, the shows he's in, WWE, not supporting those. I don't support the NBA. They're slaves to China. They want to sell more in China, and LeBron James is a poster boy for China and the CCP. I won't support them anymore, just like any others that continue to do so. So I urge everyone else to do the same. Our dollar is our biggest advocate for where our interests lie. We have to withhold our dollar from those things that are doing evil, from those places that are doing evil things all across the world. And that's my piece on that. Screw China and the CCP. G, you look like Winnie the Pooh.
Bang. Hey, did you ever get a chance to listen to Andrew Schultz, the comedian, talk about TikTok and its influence on the U.S.?
No, I didn't. I know Andrew Schultz though, but I haven't heard him talk about TikTok.
It's quite interesting. It's almost like it's another game trying to set to ruin the United States by making kids stupid. Quite interesting.
Wait. Was it the clip where he's talking? Oh, I'll let you play it. I think I did see this actually.
See how this goes.
Deal because the platform we didn't create. So it's like, oh shit, we don't want some other country's tech influencing us. In China, the way that the algorithm works, it doesn't reward people doing stupid dances and like playing with their dog. The algorithm is rewarding things that they want to see their youth do, doing cool engineering, so people doing cool science. But if you're China and you wanted to disrupt another country, wouldn't you reward the dumbest possible shit on that app? Twerking. People doing stupid dances. You want the next level of youth to go, I can be famous doing something that's truly worthless to society, not beneficial to society, like being an engineer, being a doctor. So this is how you get to manipulate your society into doing something good, and how you fuck over your competition into doing work. It's genius.
Is that why Trump wanted to get rid of TikTok?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. You're doing
That's a different level of warfare.
But this is how you fight wars. Now that we have enough military weapons so everybody can kill each other, we need to find other ways.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite interesting. I thought it was quite an interesting thing to bring up. If that is true, in fact, that their algorithm just promotes actual like things that are beneficial to society, and ours are just promoting degeneracy and dumb things that have no skill level whatsoever. Yeah, I think that there's a little bit of warplay at hand here, and it's just exactly what they want.
Do you, Christian? Do you have TikTok? Do you use TikTok?
I watch videos here and there. I don't post anything. I don't really take part. I'm not really in support much. I
have TikTok, and I can't say that I don't use it. It is hilarious, and I watch a lot of TikToks, but I don't ever make TikToks. And I will say, I know it's bad. I know it's a bad app. I know it's bad for people, and I'm not justifying. The only thing I will say is that the way that the algorithm works, that it tailors to your basically sense of humor. You like something, it'll show you more things like that. I think that's what makes that social media app just so successful compared to others. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, back then you had to follow and find the things you liked. There weren't explore pages and things like that. And even then, the explore pages are terrible. I mean, on Instagram, I get like the wildest stuff that I like political pages. I never see politics in my explore page. I don't know about you, Christian. I see super progressive stuff in my explore page, but I'm like, I've never liked anything like that on Instagram. But TikTok, everything you like something, it's going to continue showing up in your For You page. And I think it's a genius level design, but terrible that it is in the control of the CCP, and unfortunate that they're the ones who are controlling TikTok and what they do. So it's unfortunate. I would advocate for people to get off TikTok, myself included. I'll work towards that, getting off
Yeah.
TikTok.
Just think it's kind of bad. And one of the things I've noticed too, especially with the Black community, we're always on the forefront of every new dance challenge. We're always the one creating every new dance challenge. I'm like, what if we did something else? Like, not like it's bad and all, but like, what good does that really do? I'm not gonna lie, like just creating a dance challenge online to go viral. Everybody just wants to go viral now. Nobody really wants to contribute and become a great thinker or a great whatever, or like actually, be like somebody that's worth something in the community or just like up there.
Exactly.
People just want to go viral, and I'm like, man,
None
that's
of
just dumb. Like, you just want to go crazy, have people watch you. You don't have any sort of influence whatsoever, more than just people watching you. I'm like, is that all we strive to be now? Is just to be viral?
You
In
ask
our
a kid these days, 8 to 12, they're probably the number one answer you're going to get on what you want to be when you grow up as a streamer. I mean, like, that is what they're going to say. And it's like, wow, like, I remember when I was a kid, like, I wanted to play in the NFL, or I wanted to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. And like, those are all the jobs. I was like, wow, those are like really interesting jobs that I would really like to do. And now kids are like, I want to be a TikTok star. And it's like, it's unfortunate. That's not contributing anything really to society. I mean, you're an
Ask
entertainer.
kids in China what they want to be when they grow up, and then ask American kids what they want to be when they grow
Yeah.
up. I want
The
to know.
yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that American youth, I think a lot of it is bad parenting, in my opinion. I think that's one thing that we have in America, where they don't really have, I don't know about if they have good parenting, but they have both parents in the
Yeah,
household in China. They do that.
generally,
They have grandparents in the household in China as well. Usually the father's parents live with the family, and that's how that is. And they have a nuclear family, and that's something that can be like give them the credit for. Where we are constantly having children out of long-term relationships or out of one-night stands, and things like that. And
yeah,
we're not having children with a family, with people that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and things like that. So,
yeah,
and I think it's a disservice. And I'm not saying it's terrible. Like, so many people can be. I mean, myself, I grew up in a single parent household, and I feel like I'm not a terrible person, but it was hard, and it's hard for children and parents as well. And that's something that we need to get back on track. Good parenting, two-parent households, and that's something that we could definitely improve upon on this country. And I think it starts with morality, and the fact that everything is so sexualized in our country now is not getting us any closer to a nuclear
yeah.
family.
If you want to defeat the Marxists and the communists, start a family and have two parents in the house, a mom and a dad, married together, and then have a bunch of kids and raise those kids well. And just keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. And yeah, eventually they won't win anymore. But we're at the point in crossroads where we've convinced people that having a dog is good enough and having kids is a burden, and it's not worth it because then you
But
can't travel and all these.
let's continue telling them that, though, because then they won't breed. And we might
Uh,
fix
I
this
feel
issue.
bad. I have good friends out here that I think are genuinely good people, and they literally don't want to have kids just because they think it's just a burden. And I'm like, you would be a good parent. You need to have kids, but they're not going. No, I don't. I'm like,
Yeah, I
it's
know
just
people like
sad,
that.
and it's a shame, and it's a shame. I really think of like it, and I think yes, it's selfish, and I don't think it's good. No, I don't think you should be selfish like that. No, I think we're put here to have kids to populate the earth and spread our lineage and our, what our legacy that we have
But
here.
not everyone.
Hey, man, that's I mean,
Yeah,
again,
90% of people.
God's will here for what goes on. If you're able to have kids, if you're not, some people adopt.
I mean, not everyone should have a kid. Some people are just bad people. They probably
Some
shouldn't have
people are really
children.
bad people, and a lot of times those bad people don't get opportunities to have children because they're in prison.
You can still have kids in prison. Plenty of
It's a
people in
rule,
my
though,
community were like that. But
yeah.
there, I think that what you're saying, have kids, continue, raise a good family, be great with your spouse, be with your best friend. I since our last episode that I was on, I have gotten engaged, and happiest I could be. Why thank you. Happiest I could be. Very excited for the next chapter in my life with my family, and getting all that together. So that's something that I would encourage all young men and women to go for. Why thank you, to go for. Find your best friend, find the person you love, pull them close, keep them there, and get married, have a bunch of babies, and enjoy yourselves. That's what you got to do. Don't worry so much about what the blue checks on Twitter are talking about all the time, because they don't have kids. They have a dog that they
No,
put in sweaters, and that's
no.
cringy.
No, I think it's like the Instagram influencers give such a distorted reality of what life is really like. People look at that stuff and like, that's how it should be. Like, that's not even like what they're doing. A lot of times it's fake. They don't own whatever they don't own that car. They're just not even like really on vacation. They're doing whatever and like photoshopping everything. It's not real. And in reality of it all, like, there might not be that happy of people, and they're selling something that's not actually there. And I think we need to stop just buying in and accepting that crap and thinking it's real, because that's what ruins relationships. That's what makes people depressed, sad, unhappy, angry, envious. All the things that we don't want to be is based off of a picture or a video that we see somewhere on social media that gives an unrealistic view of what life is supposed to be like, or what they think it really is like, but they really aren't living that way. And I think we need to do better. I think we got to do a lot better. Have you been following a little bit of the Kanye and Kim drama that's kind of been going on in the life, man?
I saw like some screenshots. I know Kim allowed. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I'll try and say
the
this.
big thing
So,
that I want to get into is like Kim is cool with North having a TikTok. She's 8 years old. And
Yeah.
Kanye says absolutely not. And Candace went over the top and was just like, yeah, absolutely not. She's an 8-year-old kid. Go outside and play.
yeah.
And I'm on Team Kanye and Candace here, because that's ridiculous for an 8-year-old to have social media. It's
I agree. Kids
grooming
shouldn't have social media.
She's on TikTok. That's a straight grooming platform to groom kids into doing sexual things. That's
I'm
absolutely.
actually pretty sure I saw her TikTok. It was her and the other kid. I don't remember who the other kid in the Kardashians is. That's like the same age as her, but they like did one of the I think they did a TikTok trend or dance or something, and I was like, I didn't know what she looked like, because I don't care about the Kardashians. No offense to her, but I didn't know who she was, and I was like, why does this random kid have like 10 million likes? And I looked in the comments, and I'm like, oh, this is Kanye and Kim's kid. That's crazy that she's like 8 and she has a TikTok. Like, kids shouldn't have TikToks. My daughter won't have social media at 8 years old. Why, thank you. My daughter would not have social media at 8 years old or anywhere near that. Once you're able to, I'm trying to think, when did I make a Facebook? It's probably 12. I don't know, Christian. What about you? When was your first social media?
Freshman year of high school.
Well, how old are you in that? 14, 13? Freshman year, probably?
I was 15. I was 15.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I made Facebook, and I wasn't even allowed to friend people that I didn't know. I only friended school friends on Facebook and family, and I just played Farmville. Pretty fun. So that was like social media back then. Now social media is people can find you and message you and look at your pictures, and it's just not safe for kids. It's not a place for kids to be. Kids need to have social interactions, and I don't want to sound like a boomer, but like, go outside and play outside and have a good time outside with your friends in real life. Don't just always be inside and on Facebook and on TikTok and doing these things. So I'm on Team Kanye, even though he's kind of crazy. Great music, so keep it going, Kanye.
Yeah, go outside, eat some dirt. It's good for you.
Exactly. Kids don't die from eating dirt.
No.
Said it here on Black Friday.
That's right. Don't fact check and try to prove me wrong on that. No, kids,
Yeah.
they're a good character. All right, it's good for you.
Exactly. Every scrape, knee, and broken finger you get as a kid, it just builds character for later in life.
Oh man, it's just childhood now. Between childhood that we had, man, I think it's vastly different. And we're still the same generation, technically, I guess, maybe. And it's like, like we're start talking about it, we sound like the baby boomers. We're like, I used to go outside and on the swing set and ran around and kids are just plugged in right now. They don't do any of that stuff. So now we sound like those people when we mention what we used to do as kids growing up. But yeah, we had friends on the street. We had kids at school. We'd play and run around a lot and get hot.
Yeah, you did it. I remember like the PS, what was it, PSP and DS and all of those came out, and everyone lost their mind because portable video games. That was like cell phones to like us to what they are now to kids. 8-year-olds have phones and stuff like that, and they can go on Twitter and stuff. Like for us, we were like playing Pokemon. Like, oh my gosh, this is like the next big thing. I can message you in a chat room if you're within 15 feet of me. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
Now kids can like talk to kids in Dubai from New Jersey instantly on Twitter and stuff like that. It is crazy. And I think we're so normalized to have like a tech focused society that we don't realize this is probably not good for kids. I know that there are studies out there. I can't quote the study. I've seen the studies though, that social media is abhorrently dangerous for young women. It's very bad for young girls. What's the word? The way that
Grooming.
the grooming's one, but it's also the way that they compare themselves to, whether it's a model that they see or things like that, or the constant need for validation on social media is just terrible for
And
people's
that's where
self-esteem.
the family is important here. A mom and a dad gives you validation that you don't need to go look and find on social media.
Yes.
If your
Yes.
mom and dad tell you every day that they know that you're beautiful, fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, you won't go look on social media for some dude that says, "Hey, baby, you look sexy tonight." Like, you don't need that crap.
You
You don't need
put the
that.
3 hearts under the picture of,
Oh,
you doing
shit.
squats at the gym. Like, you won't need that anymore if you have
No.
family that care and love you and want to act. Not saying that families who don't care, but you can go a little bit, go the extra mile and tell your kid, ask how their day's going, pat them on the back, say
Yeah.
keep it going, that kind of thing.
Part of that it's on the parents. Stop shoving a freaking tablet in front of your kid's face to shut them up because you don't want to deal with them. And go and deal with your kids. You're a parent. Go have fun with your kids. Go
Yep.
play with them. Go do other things with them. Keep them engaged. I read a lot of books as a kid. I was in the library all the time going up through summer. I wasn't just plugged into the TV.
Magic Treehouse, baby. Come on now.
Go do something here. Come on. Go get them to do something productive. Don't just shove a tablet in front of their face to get them to shut up and stop crying all the time. Okay.
I'd say let them go start a lemonade stand, but the police would probably shoot them because they don't have a permit.
Yeah, sheesh. Permit Patty saving the day, gonna end your life. And I mean, like, I see it all the time when I fly. I fly quite frequently now. At this point, I should probably get a TSA pre-check. And
I got one of those.
I need TSA pre-check badly. I need it badly.
I got the Clear Me, I think is what it's called.
You
You
got
like
Clear?
go, yeah, you go there with your like fingerprints, and it was pretty nice. They're way nicer at the Clear station than anywhere else. Like TSA treat you like garbage in the regular lines. They're like, "How you doing today, sir? Where you flying? Oh, you look great today." I'm like, "Oh, well, thank you." Is this what happens when I pay for things?
Privatized for the government run looks like crap. Yeah, and parents on these planes like give their kids the tablets when they start crying and whining, and I'm like, that's not like the first time you've done this. This isn't just a plain thing. You do this all the time. I can tell you do this all the time, whether you're out in public, wherever you are, just to shut the kid up. You give the kid the phone, you give them the tablet, and it's just a constant thing, and that's not parenting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just passing off a problem. It's not even like a problem. It's just a kid that's crying. Like, just like your kid, stop crying. Just stop giving them crap.
Exactly.
And I acted a fool in public. My parents whooped me. You know what? I stopped acting a fool in public. It just happened that way.
I'd get the look from my I'd get the look from my mother, and I'd be like, all right, I know I gotta behave. All it takes is a look, and hoping I can make sure my kid's well behaved. And I mean, she's great already, but hoping that she's well behaved and things like that. And I'm so against like I allow my daughter to watch things. I don't allow her to watch like the LGBTQ special on Blue's Clues, but let her watch like 90s Sesame Street where they teach you like counting and colors and things like that. There's a lot of great stuff on YouTube actually. If you're a new parent or a parent, there's a lot of great like small made stuff on YouTube about like teaching kids to count and stuff like that. That's what we show her, allow her a little bit of screen time, allow her to enjoy the dancing and the music and stuff like that. And I think that it's like a creative outlet as well. Like you're like, wow, this is like really cool. It's a little bit more fun than mom and dad's with the little flip cards. Like, there's an apple. Like, okay, yeah, we got it, Dad. It's an apple. I think that's fair. But when you're like, you don't parent your kids, that's what I mean. You see, just like you said, Christian, in the airport, like I see it all the time at restaurants and things like that. People just throw an iPad at their kid and be like, here, please stop talking. Like, stop asking me questions. Or their 8-year-old has a cell phone. Like, and they're just on it constantly. Like if my kid, the only reason I'd give my kid a cell phone is if they had to walk home from school. Only reason I'd give my kid a cell phone. And at that point, when they get home, they no longer need a cell phone. It is put away. You don't need a cell phone at home. You can go do things at home. You don't need that phone anymore. And I think that's what more people need to do. Just start parenting your kids. Like realize that kids need parents. Parents don't really need kids. Kids need parents though.
They do, man. They do, and that's the one thing is if you don't parent your kids now, they're gonna grow up and resent you later on, and you're gonna regret it. They're gonna resent you for not parenting them the way you're supposed to, and for actually like, doing your job. So go ahead and get it right now, so you don't have to worry about it later. I'm telling you, go ahead and do it. It's a good thing. You're getting your parental advice from a parent and a non-parent here. So kind of non-parent here, but oh man.
It's all right, Christian, coming soon, right?
Oh man, hopefully soon, but I'm not like that, man. We're gonna
not next month, we'll see,
but it'll be at some point here in the future. I'm looking forward to it, man. Parenthood's one of the greatest things. I think it's gonna be one of the greatest things in my life. One of my greatest.
Nothing compares, man. Nothing compares. It is amazing. I'll say the best thing, just my little 2 cents on it with parenting is the first time your kid looks at you and they realize who you are and then they smile. Nothing beats it, man. Nothing beats it, because the first couple months they're like a potato that you have to feed and make sure that they stay alive. Like they don't really know what's going on, but once they get that, oh wait, I actually like you and I know who you are. Like my daughter recently, probably the last 2 months or whatever, has started giving me kisses on the cheek because she realizes what a kiss is and knows what it means. Affection means love and all of that, and that is it's man, let's go have a tea party. I love you so much. I'll dress up as a princess. I don't care. My masculinity will not be tarnished. That's just the amazing part about being a parent. So all the young men out there, go have kids. Make sure you're financially stable first, but go have kids. Go do that, because nothing else in life compares to being a parent.
Yeah. Some things money just can't buy, folks. It's
exactly. Well, yeah, you can buy a kid. I mean, just it depends. I mean, adoptions, you're basically buying the kid is $50 grand.
Hey man, it's an investment and a long-term investment, but you're gonna see nothing but joy there. It's gonna
be exactly. So go have kids. You'll have a great time. You'll enjoy yourself. Now prepare for it. Maybe I shouldn't say just go have kids. It's something that you got to prepare for, and you got to think about and make sure that you're going to.
I genuinely think the people watching this know what we mean when we say go have kids.
Yeah. I don't want people to quote me, but Chris is encouraging everybody to go have kids.
I mean, absolutely, but obviously, we're not just go willy nilly out there and just make it happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, not. But
be smart and have kids when you're ready. I'll say that.
Okay. So it feels good to be back. We're going to be more regular, more consistent with this. We're happy we were able to come back here in the wonderful month of Black History, and we will be back very soon. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time. And y'all be easy.